We shouldn't talk about this may contain graphic descriptions and/or explicit content that may not be suitable for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Hi, everybody. I'm Key,
And I'm V.
and this is We Shouldn't Talk About This.
Good day to you, Key.
A good day to you, sir.
What's going on in the world of Key?
My tomatoes are growing. I have like way more than two tomatoes now. I'm super excited.
Really?
Really, I have one eggplant. I have some peppers coming. Like my little backyard garden is booming.
So how do you know when they reach their proper size? Like how do you know?
Well, it depends on the item. Like the tomatoes I have like little cherry tomatoes and also like regular sized tomatoes. So you kind of just have to like eyeball them, but they kind of start turning from green to like orangish. That's how you know they're
Hmm.
ripened. So they're like at their full size pretty much. But like eggplant is like, you know, they vary in shape and size. So you just kind of you pluck them off while they're still shiny. Like if they start to get dull, then like that's as far as they're gonna grow, and they're like kind of overripe at that point.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So you
So when
definitely
you're
have
shopping
to
for
keep it
eggplant, always grab the shiniest ones.
the shiny ones.
Yes.
Got it. Now, now that does sound very, very interesting. I'm glad they're not dying. Glad they're thriving
They better be thriving. I'm out there hand pollinating everything every day.
every day. No
Every
days off.
day. No days off. Hand pollination or I don't know. Or no
Hand
pollination, I guess.
hand hand pollination or no situation.
That's right. Or no procreation. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Well, that's what's up. That's what's up. So today, what do you think we shouldn't talk about?
With the whole quarantine thing, I've really been missing just the camaraderie and physicality and just the feeling that watching sports really gives you. Like rooting for my teams, watching them play. Like it just seems like the world is a tiny bit sadder with no sports. So let's talk about some sports crimes.
Now, that is definitely very interesting because I know that athletes are beloved. Some people have, of course, their favorite athlete, like they will never, ever, ever stop loving them. But you know what? They're humans. They're not perfect. They make mistakes.
That is true.
And we're going to dive into a couple of interesting cases that celebrities fell off from high because they were caught in the wrong and they paid the price, and now their career's not the same. They're looked at differently now.
Yes. And my case, I cannot wait until you hear it because I cannot believe I feel like once you hear it, you will remember it. But when I told you the names and you just didn't know, I was super shocked. So I can't wait for you to either hear it for the first time or come to the realization that you have heard it and like kind of remember it because
Hmm.
mine is good.
All right, well, let's hear it then. I'm ready.
All right. Well, gather round, children. It's time for a tale of crime. Now, Tanya Maxine Harding was born November 12th, 1970, in Portland, Oregon, to Lavonna Golden and Albert Harding. Harding was raised primarily by her mother, who enrolled her in ice skating lessons beginning around 3 or 4 years old. Harding spent much of her early life training, but during her youth, she also hunted, drag raced, and learned automotive mechanics from her father. So she was like kind of well rounded.
Did some drag racing? That's what's up.
Right, right. As a youth too, like as a kid, like that's pretty sweet. However, she eventually dropped out of high school to devote her time to ice skating. Now, Tanya did have to deal with turmoil in her home life, though. She claimed that she was frequently abused by her mother and that by the time she was 7 years old, physical and psychological abuse had become a regular part of her life. Lavana has only admitted to one instance of hitting Harding at an ice rink. Like, I guess her spins weren't tight enough or her leg wasn't straight enough, and
I mean,
Lavana was not having it.
maybe she fell and that she was an embarrassment to the family.
Whatever it was, Lavana was not having it. Now, in Harding's 2008 authorized biography, The Tanya Tapes, Harding alleged that her half brother, Chris Davison, molested her on several occasions when she was a child. In 1986, Harding called the police after Davison had been sexually harassing and terrorizing her. He was arrested and spent a short time in prison. Harding said her parents were in denial about Davidson's behavior and told her not to press criminal charges against him. Now, sadly, but if the allegations were true, then not sadly, Davidson was killed in an unsolved vehicular hit and run accident in 1988.
Oh, jeez.
But despite all of this, in the mid 80s, she began working her way up the competitive skating ladder with coach Diane Rawlinson. This is the same coach that she trained with as a figure skater throughout her youth. Tanya placed sixth at the 1986 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Oh, I said that really weird. Championships. Fifth in 1987 and 1988, and third in 1989. After competing in the February 1989 National Championship, Harding began training with Dodie Teachman as her coach. She then won the October 1989 Skate America competition and was considered a strong contender in the February 1990 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. However, she was suffering from the flu and asthma and had a poor free skate performance, although she was known as a strong free skater. After the original program, she dropped from second place and finished seventh overall. Now, have you ever just really watched ice skating?
I I've seen it on people's TVs before, and I watched them kind of like do like their relay kind of thing, but not specifically.
Oh, like speed skaters, like when they just race each
Yeah,
other around?
yeah.
Okay, so not like skating where they have the fancy outfits and all that.
No, 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 no. I have not.
Have you ever been ice skating?
Yes, I have, and I cut my friend's hand open, so
Eee.
won't be really doing that too much again.
Well, since you have actually been ice skating, then you know that it is like a physical workout. Like it is a full body workout.
Yeah, I don't see how hockey players do it. How hockey players do it in gear and hitting stuff and chasing after a puck.
I don't either. Oh, and I like watching hockey, but man, that just seems like 2 minutes in and I'd be like laying on the ice somewhere. I'd be like, no, this I can't. I can't.
Yeah, seriously, it's crazy.
Well, Harding's breakthrough year came in 1991 at the US Championships when she completed her first triple axel in competition. And that was on February 16th. And she was the first American woman to execute the jump. Now, little sidebar here. An axel is one of the six main jumps that every figure skating program. Wait, an axel is one of the six main jumps that make up every figure skating program done in competition today. It's notable and recognizable to the casual fan because it's the only one that is begun with the skater facing forward. To complete an axel, a skater takes off from the outside edge of one skate, rotates in the air, and lands on the outer edge of the opposite skate.
That sounds very, very precise.
Yes. An axel is an edge jump, meaning that the skater springs themselves into the air from bent knees instead of using a toe pick to push off the ice, which is like that ridged part in front of the skate. The word triple refers to the number of rotations a skater completes before landing on the opposite skate that they took off from. So, because the skater takes off from or for an axle skating forward and lands it skating backwards, there's really an extra half rotation in the jump. So a skater must complete 3.5 full rotations before landing to successfully complete a triple axel.
Wow.
Right. So that right there is a lot of like you have to have a lot of momentum to spin 3.5 times in that short little like jump space.
Seriously, that's crazy.
That is. Now, if she landed 7 triple jumps in the long program, including that triple axel. She won the 1991 ladies singles title with the event's first 6.0 technical merit score since Janet Lane's 1973 performance in the US Championships. Now, she won the long program because 7 of the 9 judges gave her first place. And in doing so, that was basically the whole competition. At the March 1991 World Championships, which was an international event, she again completed the triple axel. Harding would finish second with the silver medal behind Kristi Yamaguchi and in front of Nancy Kerrigan, marking the first time that one country swept the ladies' medal podium at the World Figure Skating Championships. USA, USA. Okay,
Nice. They did a great job.
right. Now, maybe because I'm a girl, I used to like really be into figure skating, and I remember Kristi Yamaguchi and like all like not maybe these specific. Well, yeah, I guess not these specific championship matches, but I remember like she was a very good skater. Now, at the September 1991 Skate American competition, Harding recorded 3 more firsts. The first woman to complete a triple axel in the short program, the first woman to successfully execute 2 triple axels in a single competition, and the first to ever complete a triple axel in combination with the double toe loop. Despite these record breaking performances, after 1991, Harding was never able again to successfully complete the triple axel in competition, and her competitive results began to decline. She placed third place in January 1992 U.S. Figure Skating Championship despite twisting her ankle during practice, and finished fourth in the February 1992 Winter Olympics. On March 29th, Harding placed sixth in the 1992 World Championships, although she had a better placement at the November 1992 Skate Canada International event, finishing fourth. In the 1993 season, she skated poorly in the US Championships and failed to qualify for the for the World Championship team. Now, we're going to go to the bronze winner when the USA swept the medals, Nancy Kerrigan. Nancy Ann Kerrigan was born October 13th, 1969 in Stoneham, Massachusetts, to Daniel and Brenda Kerrigan. Nancy took up figure skating at the age of 6 and won her first competition, the Boston Open, at age 9. Kerrigan began to reach prominence at the national level when she placed 4th at a junior level at the 1987 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. She made an early impression as a strong jumper and began moving up the national rankings each year after she made her senior debut the following season. Kerrigan's rise to national level continued when she won the bronze in the 1991 U.S. Figure Skating Championships, where, again, USA swept the competition. In the 1992 season, Kerrigan again improved on her placement at the previous year's championships by finishing second. She earned the silver medal at the 1992 World Championships and won a bronze medal at the 1992 Winter Olympics. The following season, Kerrigan became United States champion, even though her performance was flawed. She had won the short program in the World Championships in Prague, but had a disastrous free skate that resulted to her dropping to 5th in the standings. This was followed by an even worse performance at a televised Pro-Am event where Kerrigan fell 3 times and botched the landing of another jump. Now, you would think that these two ladies would kind of like come together and be like, let's help each other. Let's, you're having a rough time. I'm having a rough time. Let's support each other, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I would think so.
you would think so, but no. So, before and after the 1992 Olympics, Kerrigan had many opportunities to perform professionally, which were permitted after the International Skating Union. But in preparation for the 1994 Winter Olympics, she stopped all these activities to focus on her training instead. She also began working with the sports psychologist to better handle her nerves in competition. Now, here's where we get to the actual crime. On January 6, 1994, at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Detroit, D-Town, represent, Kerrigan was the victim of a crime that caused her to gain international fame far beyond the skating world. As she was walking through a corridor at the Cobo Arena immediately after a practice session, Kerrigan was attacked. Using both hands, a man who was later identified as Shane Stant swung a 21-inch or 53-centimeter ASP telescopic baton at her right leg, striking her above the knee. The attack was intended to seriously injure Kerrigan so that she could not compete in the Nationals, where she would be defending the 1993 championship, and to take her out of the Winter Olympics.
Yo, that's so fucked up.
Right. The attack's immediate aftermath was recorded on a TV camera and broadcast worldwide. The initial footage showed people trying to help Kerrigan as she grabbed her knee, crying out, "Why, why, why?" Kerrigan was also seen being carried away by her father, Daniel. Now, her leg was not broken, but severely bruised, forcing her to withdraw from the championships and forego competing to retain the U.S. ladies title. On January 8th, 2 days later, Harding won first place at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Now, although her injury forced her to withdraw from the U.S. Figure Skating Championships, her fellow skaters agreed that she had merited one of the 2 spots on the Olympic team. Now, that January 8th championship, like whoever were like the 2 highest placing are the 2 who got put on the Olympic team. So that's why that one was very important.
Ah, I see.
So Harding and Kerrigan were both selected for the 1994 Olympic team, which I think is very commendable to her teammates. Like they were like, no, she really did earn it. Like she deserves one of the spots even though she couldn't compete.
Yeah, that is that's amazing right there.
Now, Kerrigan quickly recovered from her injury and resumed her intensive training. She practiced by doing complete back to back double run throughs of her program until she felt completely confident in her ability to compete under pressure. Now, on January 18th, 1994, Tanya Harding was with her lawyers when she was questioned by the DA and the FBI. She was interviewed for over 10 hours.
Over 10 hours.
10 hours.
Goodness.
Now, 8 hours into the interview, her lawyer read a statement announcing her separation from then husband, Jeff Gillooly, who she married in 1990. The Seattle Times reported the FBI transcript after they had released it in full, stating that Harding had changed her stories well into the long interview. After hours of denying any involvement in trying to cover up the plot, an FBI agent finally told her that, quote, he knew she had lied to him, that he would tell her exactly how she lied to him. In the transcript's final passage, Harding stated, I hope everyone understands. I'm telling on someone I really care about. I know now Jeff is involved. I'm sorry. On January 19th, Jeff Gillooly surrendered to the FBI. On January 20th, Diane Sawyer asked Harding on Primetime about the criminal investigation. Harding said she had done nothing wrong. On January 27th, Harding held an 11 a.m. press conference to read a prepared statement. She said she was sorry Nancy Kerrigan was attacked and that she respected Nancy and claimed not to know in advance of the plot to disable her. Harding then publicly took responsibility for, quote, failing to report things about the assault when I returned home from nationals on January 10th. My failure to immediately report this information, however, is not a crime, which technically is true in some states. That's not a crime.
Some states.
Now, on February 1st, Gillooly's attorney negotiated a plea bargain in exchange for testimony regarding all involved parties in the attack. The plot to attack Nancy Kerrigan apparently began to develop in December 1993. Tanya Harding was disappointed and worried about a rival skater, Kerrigan, after Harding finished fourth at a December competition in Japan. They planned to attack Kerrigan at the 1994 U.S. Championships because, again, the top two skaters at the Detroit competition would compete in the Olympics in Lillehammer, Norway in February. Shane Stant and his uncle Derek Smith were hired for this assault by Harding's ex-husband, Jeff Gillooly, and her one-time bodyguard, Sean Eckert. In July, Gillooly was sentenced to 2 years in prison after publicly apologizing to Kerrigan, even though he said, quote, any apology from me rings hollow. Gillooly and Eckert pled guilty to racketeering. Stant and Smith, who drove Stant in the getaway car and funneled money, pled guilty to conspiracy to commit second-degree assault.
Damn.
On February 17th, 1994, so not even just barely over a month, Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding shared the ice at a practice session in Hamar Olympic Amphitheater. Approximately 700 members of the press were there to document this practice.
700.
Yes.
Wow.
It was noted that Nancy Kerrigan chose to wear the same skating costume at the practice session that she was wearing when Stant attacked her. Karen Kerrigan later confirmed that her choice of costume that day was deliberate. She said, quote, humor is good, it's empowering. The tape
Get him,
delay,
girl.
right. She was like, I'm here. You tried to take me out. It didn't work. Boom. Now watch me skate. Now, the tape delayed broadcast of the February 23 Ladies Olympic Technical Program remains one of the most watched telecasts in American history. On February 25th, Harding finished eighth in the Olympics. Nancy Kerrigan, having recovered from her injury, won the Olympic silver behind gold medalist Oksana Bayul, who's from the Ukraine. So after all that, she placed eighth, and Nancy
Well,
got second.
it could have been a perfect story.
Now, on March 16th, 1994, Harding pled guilty to conspiracy to hinder prosecution as a Class C felony offense at the Multnomah County court hearing. She and her lawyer, Robert Weaver, negotiated a plea bargain ensuring no further prosecution. Her plea admissions were knowing of the assault plot after the fact, settling on a cover story with Gillooly and Eckert on January 10th, witnessing payphone calls to Smith affirming the story on January 10th and 11th, and lying to FBI with the story on January 18th. Her penalties included 3 years of probation, a $100,000 fine, and 500 hours of community service.
Wow.
She agreed to reimburse Multnomah County $10,000 in legal expenses, undergo a psychiatric examination, and volunteered to give $50,000 to the Special Olympic Oregon charity. In June 1994, Claire Ferguson, the president of the U.S. Figure Skating Association, voted to strip Harding of her 1994 title, where she won first place in Detroit after Kerrigan was attacked. However, the competition results were not changed and the title was left vacant rather than moving all the other competitors up one position. There have been numerous movies, spoofs, comedy sketches, and books written about this incident and both skaters actually, including the most recent movie being I, Tanya in 2017. And that was my story.
Wow, that was crazy. See, here I am. I'm following Kerrigan's path this entire way, and then boom, there's someone else attacking her. Man,
Right.
I thought she was gonna like go into the depths of like some kind of crazy underground stuff, you know? I was ready
No.
for it.
Oh, you thought she was gonna be like steroids and she was gonna be like out there doing quadruple axles.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly. Oh
no,
man.
a jealous skater who saw her on the rise was like, oh no, I gotta take her out the competition. Somebody go break her kneecaps. Like,
You
what
know,
if he had hit her on the kneecap? Oh my gosh.
yeah, it would have straight up shattered it. Um, Now, like, the first time, like for me, I don't like since I don't keep up with sports and stuff like that. The first time I ever saw an attack on a rival teammate was in the movie, and it was in Stomp the Yard, I think it was.
Oh,
Maybe like did it like beat up a Marion or something like that, so you couldn't dance anymore. But stuff like that really happens. I'm serious. That's the first time I ever heard something like that.
Yeah, like
Yep.
I did not know until I started researching this that like everything happened in such a short succession. Like I thought it took her like years to get back to the Olympics, like not a month.
Yeah,
Like, I didn't know it like it happened in January and then in February she was in the Olympics competing, winning second place.
yeah, I would definitely expect it some more time between that.
Yeah. But that's like that's crazy, like crazy. The fact that she was like, I didn't know anything about it until after it happened. Like, so you telling me your husband just was like, whose knees could we break so that you will be first place?
Maybe the husband was just sick of hearing her talk about it every day at dinner, so he decided to find the chick and do something about it. Maybe he was his own accord.
I don't know. She, to this day, she still holds firm to that story that she did not know anything was happening beforehand. Like, neither one of them competes anymore. But there has also been a recent interview, like when that I, Tanya movie came out, there was like, of course, a recent interview with Nancy Kerrigan too. And she, she just lives her nice, quiet life. And she just wants it all to stay in the past. Tanya Harding seems to more like relish in the limelight a bit. But either way, I'm glad that, he was a horrible henchman and hit her thigh and not her actual knee.
That's right. Him and his bad accuracy saved the day.
Right? Because she probably would have went to like to jail for real
Hmm.
if her knee had got broken. Because a shattered kneecap with a baton, like one of those like batons that like whip out when you flick it.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, he would have did some serious damage had he like hit like the front of her leg, like under her knee, where there's not a lot of meat, like on her shin or her actual kneecap.
Just thinking about that seems. Think about that. It's painful.
Yeah, yeah,
Like touching my own knee and thinking about that's painful.
right. But
Well,
everything it worked out. So I guess.
well, that is very very good. Now, my story is solely about the athlete I speak about, and no other athletes. Well, maybe we'll see. So, Evangelos Goussis, or Angie for short, was born September 14th, 1967, in Tashkent, inside the former country of Uzbekistan of the USSR, to a family of Greek immigrants. Angie was lean and a born fighter. Angie's father, Angie's father, Aristides Goussis, had been a resistance fighter against the Nazis during World War II for Greece and was a pro-Soviet guerrilla in the brutal Greek Civil War of the late 1940s. In 1949, following the victory against the communist guerrillas in Greece, Aristides and his wife Mahi, a Red Cross child care worker, fled to Uzbekistan. Goussis arrived in Australia at the age of 8. Leaving school, Goussis had various jobs such as an apprentice motor mechanic, a sheet metal worker, fitness consultant, and nightclub bouncer.
Ah, that's a lot.
It is, yeah. When Andrew was in his 20s, he became a boxer, and he was a contender for the 1988 Summer Olympics to be held in Seoul, South Korea. However, he did not qualify.
Now that
Goussis
must be hard, like to train for something as big as like the Olympics and then not qualify. I would be so depressed.
maybe he underestimated how intense it was,
Maybe
because
so.
like because like because like if you are like an athlete and you're going hard and everything, you're like, yeah, I should like try out for the Summer Olympics. But then like you do and you see just how much more you can do, and you're like, okay, okay, I understand now. So hopefully it was like a learning point for him because
Yeah.
you can always be a better version of yourself, no matter what.
Well, thanks for that little uplifting moment right there.
Yeah,
I
anytime.
feel I feel inspired now.
Good. Let's go do something today.
It's too late for that.
It's too late for me. In the early 1990s, Gusis competed in kickboxing and became the World Kickboxing Association middleweight champion. So he at least did that.
Wow. I mean, kickboxing, that's rough. I wouldn't want to just be kicked. Like, no,
You don't want to get someone's foot smacked into your face.
absolutely not. I don't
No,
even like when I like accidentally get kicked by a baby, like much less a grown person at full
no.
force. No.
Right. Well, during his early 20s, Gusis drifted into a life of crime after meeting many criminal associates, whether that's with his employment as a bouncer or through boxing. There's lots of shady characters to be around. In November of 1989, Gusis was convicted of attempted murder and trafficking in heroin and sentenced to a term of imprisonment. But 25 years later, he was convicted of carrying an unregistered firearm. Now, this is where things kind of get pretty interesting. So, Lewis Kane, also known as Sean Vincent, was an underworld figure based in Melbourne, Australia, and the boyfriend of lawyer Zara Gard Wilson. Vincent had lived with Gard Wilson for a period of about 2 years before he died. On May 8th, 2004, Angie and associate Keith traveled to Melbourne from Geelong to meet with Vincent in the Carlton Hotel at the invitation of Keith. The body of Vincent was found with a single gunshot wound to his head in a dead end street on later on the 8th.
Jeez.
Yeah, at the trial of his murder, Angie claimed self-defense, saying that Vincent pulled a gun out and fired at him. However, the gun jammed, and so Angie then shot Vincent in the head with a single shot before dumping his body in a laneway. Angie was found guilty by the jury for the murder of Vincent. So even if Vincent did pull a gun out on him, Angie still had a gun of his own apparently, because if he pulled out a gun and it jammed, you're not gonna take that gun from his hand and then shoot him with it because it's already jammed. You're gonna pull your own gun and shoot him. So you know,
Unless you are familiar with guns, depending on the type of gun, you can like unjam it and shoot it.
since his father was a gorilla, he should just like grab the barrel of the gun and like disassemble the gun while it was in Vincent's hand. That would be impressive right there.
That would, because it's actually pretty hard to disassemble a gun like backwards like that.
Transporter can do it.
He is not human. Shout out to Jason Statham.
Jason Statham.
No, but like if it was self defense, why not call the police? Why
Mm.
just leave him in the alley?
Right.
That just
Yeah.
makes you seem pretty
Let me see.
guilty.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. At least like be like shoot him and then call the police and like pretend like you're panicking and be like, I don't know what happened. He's gone. He's gone. Just be hysterical. But if you leave the body, you're probably guilty.
Right. Words to live by.
Hmm. Masked gunmen entered the Brunswick Club on Sydney Road, Brunswick, at about 7 p.m. on March 31st, 2004.
So he's just making updates at this point.
Louis Louis Moran ran from his place at the bar and through a poker machine room before the gunman caught up with him and shot him twice. The fatal bullet being fired into the back of his head from a couple inches away. Associate Bertie Rote was severely wounded but survived the attack. On on May 29th, 2008, Angie was found guilty of the murder of Louis Moran, and on February 9th was sentenced to life of imprisonment with a 30-year non-parole period. So let's reverse this real quick. So Louis Moran died March 34th. Oh my gosh, died March 31st, 2004, and Angie was found guilty May 29th, 2008. Isn't that crazy?
Well, they say the wheels of justice turn slowly.
That was just ridiculous right there.
It is that's it took a long time for them, especially for it to be like something that they obviously had witnesses.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you go through a whole bar and poker machine room, and people gonna see someone just running for their life and getting chased by people with guns, or even if they don't have guns, they'll see more than one person running after someone.
Right. That did seem like it took a awful long time.
Absolutely. Angie was also under investigation for the murder of a male prostitute, Shane Curtis Abelt, who was shot dead in a professional hit outside his reservoir home on the 4th of June 2003. Now, Shane was traveling to the Melbourne County Court where he was due to appear to face rape charges, but he died before he was able to get there. July 8th, 2014, the Victorian court system jury found that Angie and two other co co-accused were not guilty for the murder of Shane. In 2013, the growing disquiet emerged regarding the nature of the evidence to secure Angie's conviction. It was revealed that contradictory accounts by the primary prosecution witness had been rewritten to fit the telephone call records provided by police. In 2014, Angie was released of his accounts of events alleging police misconduct and called for a royal commission.
So he got out
He got out.
because they were cooking the books.
That's right.
Whoa. I mean, he's out here like literally killing people left and right.
Yeah, like he's a professional hitman from what this all is saying.
And because some shady, corrupt officer fudged some details, now he got out.
Now he's a free man.
Damn.
That's all it takes sometimes. That's all it takes.
Well, cops shouldn't be shady and corrupt, and then these types of things wouldn't happen.
Very
Obviously, he
true.
wasn't the best hitman if he had got caught twice. Like
That's
he was bound to make a mistake to get in jail.
and then he tells the worst lies. He's like, "No, it was self-defense. He had a gun on me first. The gun jammed, so I killed him." It's
Right.
like, dude, lie better, please.
I guess they didn't like those slow wheels of justice either.
Mm-mm. Well, that was Evangelos Goussis.
Man, he could still be in jail because that was like just 7 years ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, who knows how many people he's murdered?
yeah. He's just racking up that money, making those hits. It's crazy.
That is to go from such potential to that.
Yeah, yeah. Because even though he didn't make the Olympics, he was the middleweight World Kickboxing Association champion. the world.
The
Crazy.
world. Yeah, I mean, he could have just kept his practice, working, bettering himself, and he could have made the Olympics in 4 more years.
Hmm.
But instead, he turned to a life of crime.
Yeah, those associates that he met, either like bouncing and boxing and kickboxing, it must have really like wooed him with the luxurious dreams of fast money and high-paced lifestyles. Because like a lot of sports, a lot of athletes, they love adrenaline. So
Yeah.
if he's going from like like I'm in the ring, like risking my bones being broken, why not be on the streets and risk my life being taken? Why not, you know, why not do some crazy stuff?
Yeah, I could see how, being an assassin would be an adrenaline rush.
Oh yeah,
I could see it. I
but
personally
he,
wouldn't do it.
but but if you're an assassin though, you need good connects to get you out of places. I mean, yeah, he's out of prison now, but he got caught multiple times, and his trail was on everything to for him to get questioned at least.
Right. And he didn't get out because he was innocent. He got out on a technicality.
Yeah, right, right, right.
So, he but he's not in jail now from what we know. So maybe he became a better assassin. Maybe those few years in jail taught him something.
Yeah, he maybe burned his fingerprints off and bald his head, different things, so he doesn't leave any DNA behind.
Wow. So now that we've talked about some athletes that have fallen from grace, how are we going to bring this back up?
Do you know the word on when sports will start back again for the United States?
I do not, sadly.
Neither do I.
Well, that didn't help. Um, However, Netflix has Hannibal, all 3 seasons. Wonderful, wonderful show. Did you ever watch that when it was on TV?
No, I know of the actor though. Mans, is that his name?
Mads Milliken.
Mads. Yeah, he's a great actor. I have not seen the show though.
He is the best Hannibal Lecter ever.
I'm surprised there's 3 seasons worth of content for that. I mean, they're hour episodes, right?
Yeah, but it's like a very, very cerebral show. Like you kind of have to pay attention to it, but like it's not really completely centered around him. It's more of like the FBI, but he's kind of like helping the FBI while also being who they're looking for pretty much.
Oh wow.
Like it's a lot going on, but like one of the other people helping the FBI has like this, like he's pretty much also a psychopath, but he doesn't use it for bad. So when he goes into a crime scene, like he like recreates everything in his head to like figure out how it happened and stuff. And he like kind of puts himself in the place of the murderer. He just doesn't know exactly who the murderer is. It's
Wow.
it's like crazy. Like if you watch it, it's crazy, but it's so good, and I wish that it had went more than 3 seasons. But I've been binging that like, you know, 2, 3 episodes every night, pretty much. Well, actually, no,
Nice,
not
nice.
even that many because I'm still in season 1, so maybe like 2 episodes every night.
That's good. You're taking it in moderation. Not
Yeah,
just flying through it.
yeah, I'm like paying more attention on some parts because I remember being lost a lot when I watched it like on TV, but now that I can like see it back to back and not have to wait a week, I can be like, oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. And streaming shows is like the best thing, just because of that.
Yeah, it really is. Now I'm like trying to wait until another show that I like to watch, the new season finishes so I can stream it all and not have to wait.
Right, for whenever season blank coming soon.
Right, because we know that they're not filming anything now, so any
Hmm.
new season of anything probably isn't going to be
It's
until
gonna
like
be
late
gonna be delayed.
2021,
Yeah.
early 2022. So we have to savor what little bit of new shows we get.
You know, it's so crazy to say we're living in the 20s now because like now like you have to say 1920s because we're in the 20s now. And we'll be in the 30s and the 40s. I think that's pretty neat. That we're gonna go over it all over again and then have to refer to everything else as like 19XX.
Yeah, that is weird.
I mean, like the Roaring 20s was a thing, but now like the Roaring 1920s, you know?
Yeah, because well, I think people will know that these 20s are not starting out with the roar, starting with
S- with
tears.
screams,
Yes,
anguish.
screams of anguish, exactly. Well, other than Hannibal, which I highly suggest, I noticed like I really only watch like pretty much true crime stuff. That and Bob's Burgers.
you, you gotta have balance there.
Gotta have balance. Like so, whenever you get a chance, watch Hannibal on Netflix. It is crazy. It's good. Mads Milliken, I think that's his real last name. I might just be making that up. He is a great Hannibal Lecter. He's been in so many things too, and I think that's just like the perfect role. He's so cute and as Hannibal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's cute. And he was also in I think Casino Royale, one of the 007 movies. He
yeah,
was he was a villain.
yeah. I remember him as a villain. Um, and he was also in Death Stranding, a video game, and of course he looks like super real in it because they use like all that point model facing stuff, the dots and everything. And he even like had it on his Twitter for a couple times.
Ooh, that's cool. I didn't know he was in video games too.
Hmm.
Diversify. That's right. Get your money, sir. Get your
That's
money.
exactly. Exactly.
Well, that this has been a very good episode to me. Like
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed our sports figures falling from grace.
Hmm.
Like I really want to go watch some old figure skating now.
Shoot, I want to watch it just to see how good they are.
Yeah, like now, but that I know like what a triple axle actually is, I am super impressed. Like I can barely stand up on ice skates,
Right.
much less do all that.
Yeah, triple, double, quadruple.
Right, like flips and all that stuff. I'm just impressed by the pure athleticism of athletes of that caliber.
Yeah, they're definitely freaks of nature. And and I can definitely see how how having so much pressure on you can lead you to, doing drugs or just doing crimes because like, people think you're perfect, but you're not perfect. And no one understands you because they will always see you as like, the money sign, like the dollar sign or your team colors. They'll always see you as that. They won't ever see you as a person. And so when you're disassociated like that, it kind of takes the human out of you too.
Wow, have you been reading my FBI trainee notes?
Maybe.
Because that was quite insightful.
Maybe.
Are we going to be agents together? Agent Key and Agent V on the case?
I'm down with that. I am
Are we
down with
both going
that.
to be behavioral analysis agents?
Sure thing. I'm down for that.
All right. Well, I'll save you a seat in Monday's class at Quantico.
All right. See you then.
All right. Well, with that, I'm Key,
And I'm V.
and this has been We Shouldn't Talk About This.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.